Hey Pisces, it's Ashley. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We're going to do your reading for mid-November. We're going to see a strength, a challenge, and then the potential outcome for you. And we're going to pull some cards to try and narrow down the story a bit. Now, it will not resonate for every Pisces out there, so be sure to check your other placements if this is not your reading. And please leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I truly appreciate your energy. So let's see what we got for Pisces mid-November. So this will be the week of the 15th, and we do have that Taurus eclipse this week on the 19th. So if you haven't already watched that bonus reading, I will link it at the end of this video. And it may give you some heads up into what to expect during this eclipse season. So let's see what we got. We have the Fool, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands, the World card, Justice, and the Two of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Magician, and the Moon. We got quite a bit of majors showing up here. At the bottom of the deck, Ace of Cups. I believe Scorpio just got this at the bottom of the deck as well. So could potentially be a brand new love beginning showing up here for you. We will see how that comes into play. Look at this card. We have Courage, and this is coming in as your strength. It says strength, fierceness, and family. So could certainly have some Leo action going on here with this lion showing up. But I do feel like you're really tapping into your inner strength and power here. So that feels wonderful. We have the Fool, the World, and the Queen of Swords. I think the thing that is showing up as your strength is there's clearly a cycle that is completing here, and you're taking decisive action essentially to have this new beginning here with the Fool. It's like you're cutting out the old, and you have this clarity of where you're going moving forward here. And it's kind of an interesting energy to show up for Pisces, right? Not that Pisces aren't able to step into the Queen of Swords energy, but the Queen of Swords is very like, she pulls emotions to the side. She pushes them aside so that she can make a logical, clear, decisive choice about something and see something clearly without sometimes the murkiness that emotion can bring into something, right? And so I almost feel like that's on purpose here with the Queen of Swords. It's like you're having to set aside emotion in order to find the courage to do this thing, start this new beginning, close out an old cycle. So let's see if we can get some more detail on this strength row. Why do we have the Fool? Manifesting new beginning with the Magician there. And there you are as the Hanged Man. So I think that there's some perspective, some clarity in that, you know, you need to have a new cycle begin here. With the World card, we have the Three of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles. So I do feel like it's almost like you're celebrating the fact that you're able to release and let go of this. I feel like with the Four of Pentacles showing up there, I do feel like perhaps it's a cycle that you had been holding on to, something that felt very secure, to hold on to this. And I do feel like it's almost like you release it, you let it close, and it's like this relief kind of energy. With the Queen of Swords, we have Justice and the Seven of Cups. So I think you're doing this, making this choice to move into a new cycle because you feel that it's what's best, it's what's fair, it's what's karmically correct. Especially with this cycle that's been kind of maybe hanging on for longer than, I don't even want to say longer than it should. It'll hang on until you're ready to release it, right? And that timing is obviously going to be personal to you, but I think there's almost like this recognition that perhaps the karma associated with this past cycle, whatever it is that you're allowing to close out, it's like you needed a new beginning here to kind of start with a clean slate. But I do think it's taken a lot of courage to do this. Let's see what we got coming in as your challenge. We have Artist in the reverse. So we get the shadow attribute here. It says, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity. You know, when this card came out, I kind of feel like maybe you know, because we talk about like the starving artist, right? Like that's a term that people will use. But really what I feel like I'm getting from that card is that I don't really feel like it's starving artist energy. I feel like perhaps, how do I want to word this? There may have been something going on, something that you decided to close out. It's almost like you're just taking your power back here, because I feel like perhaps in the past, this past cycle that needed to close was a situation where you accepted less than your worth, if that makes sense. And so you were in kind of like this starving artist energy when you were in that cycle. And not because, like, for what I feel like is you bring a lot to the table, but you were allowing yourself to stay in a situation that wasn't worthy of you, if that makes sense. We have the Ace of Pentacles, Justice, and the Magician. So that Justice card is showing up again here as your center card. So I think you're going towards something that actually is worthy of you and what you're able to bring to the table. Now it is showing up as the challenge position. So let's get an idea of why that's the case. With the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Nine of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. There may be an offer coming in mid-November here that you're guarded against doing, and perhaps it's because it's an offer that you don't feel like is good enough, big enough. You know, if this is a job offer, for example, you may feel like the pay is really less than you would expect, right? And I feel like part of why it's so difficult is you feel like you just came out of something that was imbalanced in that way, right? With Justice, we have the Five of Cups, yeah, and the Eight of Pentacles. So I do feel like there was an imbalance somehow with the amount you were bringing to the table and the amount you were receiving back. And so it could be that there's an offer coming in this week that it almost feels like the same old story is what I want to say. It's like you ended this cycle, you went for the new beginning, and now like this is the offer I'm getting. It kind of feels like this disappointed energy. With the Magician, we get the Six of Swords and the King of Cups. So I definitely feel like you're continuing to move towards this manifestation, because we have the Magician here in the Strength position as well with that Fool energy. And so I do feel like you're going to go for the thing that feels good in your heart here. So if this offer that comes in doesn't feel worthy of you, well, don't accept it, right? You're clearly got your guard up against it. Also, something I want to say here, and it may apply to only a few of you. With that offer coming in and you having your guard up with that Nine of Wands, it could simply be coming up that way because you've been burned in the past. And so take a look at that. Like, make sure that if there's an offer coming in, that you're not rejecting it simply because you're afraid it might turn out the same way. So really look at it closely. Like, essentially don't introduce any self-sabotage here. So keep an eye out for that. That could apply as well for some of you. Make sure you're actually following your intuition with it, rather than perhaps some wounding that is still being healed from this past experience that you've endured. So, of course, something like, for example, if this is a love situation you closed out, right, because it was imbalanced, you finally got the courage to move on, and now you get a new love offer here, don't just throw it to the wayside just because you're afraid it'll turn out just like the last one did, is what I'm saying. So in the potential outcome, I really like this. We have the Blue Flame. It says spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. And with this eclipse this week, it is within the degrees of the Pleiades. So if you look at the thumbnail that I put up, there is the Seven Sisters star constellation there on the thumbnail because this eclipse helps to activate that part of the Taurus in your chart. So it's lined up with the degree points that line up with the Pleiades. And so there could very well be some sort of activation that you receive here, some sort of download that comes in on the tails of this eclipse. We have the Knight of Wands, the Two of Swords, and the Moon. I do feel like there's some fears coming up here. And I want to say they're almost like really old ones. So that might be kind of holding you back a little bit. And I feel like perhaps something about that comes to light for you. Let's see, with the Knight of Wands, we have the Page of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. With the Two of Swords, we have you, the Queen of Cups, and the Seven of Pentacles. And with the Moon, we have the World and the Lovers. Interesting. So I feel like there's an offer. Somebody wants to come forward and heal something with you, I believe. It may be someone that you haven't been speaking to for some time, potentially. I do feel like there's potentially some doubts and fears that come up as a result of this incoming communication. But I also get the feeling like potentially, like on the deep down low, you've maybe been waiting for this communication for some time as well. It kind of feels like you want it to happen, but you're also afraid of it happening because then you'll be faced with a decision, perhaps. And I do feel like someone here is afraid of a cycle closing out with potentially a long-term partner or a soulmate here in the form of the Lovers. For others, this Moon could simply be the thing that closes out a cycle with a soulmate here, right? We're also getting the Five of Wands there. So it's definitely something that's caused some conflict. Like, there's all this, like, how do I want to describe it? I could say mental conflict, but I don't feel like it's just mental conflict. I feel like I get this feeling that not all parts of you are aligned. Like, your head thinks one thing, your heart says another, your intuition says another thing. You know what I mean? So it's like all parts of you are having a hard time with this. But I do feel like the courage that you need to end this cycle and move towards something that you deserve is here for you to tap into this week, for sure. And perhaps in doing so, the outcome is not only that the cycle does come to an end here, but you're kind of, there's some sort of breakthrough that happens to maybe kind of bring some clarity as to why it was so difficult or what have you with that blue flame energy. So definitely pay attention around the eclipse and see what comes through for you. It could be in the form of a dream. It could just be some sudden like light bulb moment. It could even come as, you know, like this aha when you're talking to someone and suddenly something clicks, right? So pay attention to that. But I definitely feel like there's some offers coming in here is just, you know, carefully evaluate, is it something that's worthy of me, right, and my time and what I bring to the table, but also avoid rejecting an offer simply out of fear, right? So I hope that was helpful, Pisces, and I will see you next time. Bye.